Hello, 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 everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for joining the movement. I'm Anita Wilson, and this is Annette Anderson, and we are the movement. We're a motivational organization there to educate minds, empower, nurture, and transform. We are a movement to move. We want to see you thrust into your purpose so that you could start living your best life and win. We want to see everybody win. You could have gone anywhere else, but we thank you so much for stopping by tonight just to chat with us on our Can We Talk segment. And we have a great topic tonight, and we are excited to just let our hair down and have a little discussion and just keep building and keep growing. So uh, we're ready for you, right, Annette?
Yes, we are ready. We've been waiting all week patiently, bated breath, waiting to be able to share with you tonight. And again, like we always say, we want you to win. So we're looking forward to see you in the winner's circle.
Exactly. All right. Now, tonight we have a topic that we um, have prepared for you. A lot of times we find ourselves, we've been, kind of going through the motions of, okay, a lot of us are getting started with businesses, changing the nature of how we're doing business, modifying what we're doing. And in this process, one of the things that I've learned is that when you start walking in that lane, you start facing you get some walls and some obstacles, all kinds of things that start to get in your way. And we want to help you learn how to just keep moving, because sometimes, let me tell you, when you be about yours, when you are really about it, I don't know about you, but when I'm really about it and I'm ready and I know what I'm supposed to be doing and I know that this is my path, I will knock anybody down in front of me. I mean, it sounds blunt, but it's just the truth. I will literally knock you over, and that's how we have to get about some of the things that get in our way, because a lot of times they just do. So I'm going to share our presentation with you, and we're going to get started. We're hoping that we can help somebody tonight. And for those of you who missed us the last couple of weeks, make sure you go. I actually left those open. I don't think I even took the one from the week before down. I think I left that one open as well, because we have some worksheets and some stuff that we've been passing out during this process. So tonight we're dealing with breaking barriers. Breaking barriers. There are so many things that get in our way. There are so many things that we allow to just build this wall. I remember I was talking to somebody in a counseling session a few weeks ago, and she said to me, Anita, every time I start in this process, it's like I just face a brick wall, and I can't seem to get through it. I can't seem to get past it. It's like I get to a certain point and then this wall comes up. Does anybody else feel that way? That you get to a certain point in the process, and you know that this is what you're supposed to do. I'm supposed to do this. I can't sleep at night because of this. I can't function because of my thought process when it comes to this. But it seems like right when I get just a few steps ahead, here comes this brick wall that just gets in my way, and it's like, oh my God.
Oh yeah.
And most of the time when we face that brick wall, a lot of times we don't even try to get around it or whatever. We don't try. We just stand there and be like, oh God, I'm facing the wall. Oh, well, I guess I'll go home and sit down and be quiet and just chill. Maybe this ain't for me to do. Let me just close my doors. Let me just, I'm just going to stop right here. It was fun while it lasted. Oh, yeah, we had a good season. Yeah. But you know what? That's not what this is. Because if you look at the things on those blocks, those are some of the things that we deal with, and we get in our own way. We allow these stumbling blocks to come, and we don't do anything about it. But I'm here to encourage you all tonight. You see that wrecking ball? Does it look afraid to you? You have got to be like a wrecking ball. Now, when Miley Cyrus first came out with that record, of course, I liked the record until I saw the video. When I saw the video, I was, okay, I'm like, Miley, you went a little too far. I couldn't get with her naked swinging on the wrecking ball and kissing on a hammer and all that stuff. It was just a little too suggestive for the song. But the actual song, the meaning behind it was very powerful. But I feel like without, looking suggestive, I feel like I kind of want to be like Miley and just swing on the wrecking ball and just let the ball just hit the wall and let the wall come tumbling down. Because I feel like coming in like a wrecking ball, and that's what we have to do. We have to put ourselves in the mindset that, okay, this wall is in front of me. This wall is trying to hinder me. This wall is trying to take away everything that I'm doing. It's trying to break my stride. This wall is put up to stifle my growth. This wall came up to distract me or to hinder me or to slow me down or, whatever. But you have to look at that wall just like this wrecking ball. Wrecking ball does not look fearful. And that's how I feel. When I face those obstacles, when I face those brick walls, I look at it like I'm the wrecking ball.
Yeah.
And what does a wrecking ball do? A wrecking ball will bust right up on it. Wrecking ball don't care. Boom. And that's how you have to do. Because at the end of the day, the main thing that you deal with in this is your mindset.
Yes.
You got to change your mind about how you see it. You got to change your mind about, a lot of times we start thinking negative. We start thinking and feeling everything that we see on the wall. We start putting it in our mindset as truth.
Yes. And
truth don't keep you locked up behind a brick wall.
Yeah.
Truth is freedom. It might be a fact that you're having those issues, but the truth says this is what you're supposed to do, and God's going to make a way because He's the way, He's the truth. So you bring the fact to the truth, and the wall will come down.
Yes, true.
So your mindset is the thing. Now, when we're dealing with mindset, first thing we have to do is we have to evaluate. When you're faced with the problem, take the time, sit down, and try to figure out why this wall came up. Why am I facing this now? Because there's always a reason. And when you sit down and start to evaluate the process, most of the time you can look back and see where you came short. You'll see where you made a mistake. I used to tell Kyle all the time when he was younger, he struggled in math. God knows, the poor child. I had to get him a tutor. I spent a lot of money on tutors. Hello, I don't know who came on. Hello, but I spent a lot of money on tutors, and when I say he struggled, he struggled. But I wasn't the brightest bulb in the lamp either when it came to math. So I struggled myself. So I told him, and everybody do me a favor because I forgot to mute everybody. If you could mute yourself for me, because I didn't mute anybody. Except Annette, don't mute yourself. Carrie muted herself. Hey, Valerie.
Valerie.
But Michelle had already muted herself. But I struggled with math. I did. I struggled with math very badly. But the one thing that I had to learn was that if I went back and I backtracked myself and I evaluated each step that I took, most of the time it was a small mathematical, like a multiplication or a division error that I made early on in the math problem that caused me to come out with the wrong answer. So sometimes when we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, sometimes when you go through the refresh, restart, reboot phase, it may be something in the process while you were on that journey, something that you missed. And it's okay to go back and say, you know what, and do your little check system. check off that I did this right, I did that right, I did this right, I did that right, I did that. And you just evaluate. Because most of the time, if it's a small human error or something that you forgot to do, or something that you didn't know about that you needed to really look into, then evaluation will take care of it. So you have to put your mind in the place of, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. Don't allow your mindset to become defeated. No, take a minute, evaluate the situation. When you evaluate, you'll also gain a perspective.
Yeah. Exactly.
What'd you say?
Oh, I was just agreeing. I'm saying exactly. Yeah.
When you evaluate, you gain perspective. Most of the time, when we're talking about, when we start dealing with our process, when we start starting our process, it's tough. And we don't know everything. Trust me, I started business with absolutely nothing. I told y'all I started a business and I didn't even know that I needed an occupational license. But when I evaluated my situation, I gained a perspective when that state board representative walked in my business and told me I could close your doors today. I'm glad you didn't have any clients. I knew then I had to do something. I had to do something about my situation. So I gained the right perspective. I gained the perspective. I had to take my point of view, and I had to look at the situation, and I had to figure things out like a math problem. I had to evaluate it. I had to look at the height, the width, the depth. I had to look at the situation, and then I gained the perspective.
And Anita, sometimes when you're gaining perspective, sometimes it may mean to scrap everything and start over. Sometimes it may mean to overhaul your routine, and other times it may mean to broaden your horizons. So
sometimes you have to change your position.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to change the angle. I mean, all of that is in the same thing in math. Sometimes it's your outlook or your viewpoint. That's your perspective.
Yes.
And you'll gain proper perspective if you evaluate. It's all about your mindset.
Yes.
So don't get discouraged if you go to one building and you can't do certain things in that building for your school, Michelle, that you want to do. You have to step back and you have to gain a perspective. You have to go back and evaluate your paperwork, because 9 times out of 10 in your planning process, it told you, okay, make sure you go and check out the demographics, check out the noise ordinance, check out this, that. Because when I moved my businesses, I always had to make sure that I dealt with the noise ordinance, because I had a business that we played music in all day. So I was always conscious about my neighbors, and especially in the buildings when you're joined with people and you have to play music for certain things, it's disturbing to the people next door. Trust me, I had one particular building, and it wasn't our fault. It was the landlord who had very cheaply divided the building we were in. 2 rooms were once a part of another section. So he had some faulty construction where he had divided this building. And honestly, there was one day that somebody pushed the wall and I felt that it was nothing but sheetrock. So we took money off of the rent, had our contractor go in and put up a barrier between those 2 walls. I say, he doesn't have anything between these walls. I can hear their conversation. I can hear when they're vacuuming this closet. And they can hear me. It's very, very, very loud. And that was because this particular person who owned the building did not cover himself, but we covered ourselves. But every time we moved, we made sure that there was nothing in our lease that would cause us to have a problem because of the noise ordinance, so that we could play our music, because we were a musical business. We had to be able to make noise. And it was blasting most of the time with my partner with the dance clients. So we were always making noise, trust me. Yeah. And we always loved it when we got a building that was on the end, because we would always put her spot facing outward so that it wasn't interfering with anybody else's wall. So those are all things that when you gain proper perspective of what you're dealing with, then you don't have to fall into the mindset of woe is me mindset. Keep your head, keep your mind in check. Use your thinking processes. Don't allow that thing to cause you to lose your viewpoint. Get focused. Gain perspective. Make sure that you have the right viewpoint. Make sure that you have everything in place.
So Anita, let me tag on a little bit. When you were talking about math, I know I struggled in that too. And with statistics, you know, there's a formula. So you will never get to the next level in math if you don't learn the formula. And it's the same thing with perspective. You got to learn the formula. What works for you? What happened? Why you had whatever issues you had. So I was thinking about that when you were talking about math, and that's why I struggled, because I could not remember the formula, and it didn't matter. Yeah, subtract and multiply. I still had to know the formula to get to the next stage.
You had to know the formula.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Sometimes it's the formula. Sometimes it's a small mathematical error.
Yeah.
Have all of the pieces in place, then you don't have to fall to that faulty mindset. Because I know especially like when you know what you're supposed to do, because this is what I'm supposed to do. So if I'm facing the barrier, am I going to sit there and be defeated and let my mind go all the way back to zero? No. I'm coming in like a wrecking ball because I want mine. This is what I'm supposed to have. So I need my mindset to go to the point to evaluate, to gain perspective, and then I can redefine the barrier. Okay. So it's not really a brick wall. It's just styrofoam. It's all about your mindset.
Yes.
Because when you get to the point where you evaluate and you gain perspective, then you can tell the wall what it is. Oh, come on, somebody.
Yeah. You can name your wall.
Girl, don't make me preach to here. You can name your wall. You name the wall. All right, wall. Yeah. Okay, styrofoam. Okay, cotton. You redefine the barrier. It's your mindset. And then here's a good one, because this is a next right here. You gotta walk your talk. Now, sounds a little strange, but when your mindset is right, and because everything, when you have a vision, it starts in the mind.
Yeah.
It starts in the mind before it ever becomes real. So when you get that vision and then you mess around and open your mouth and say something, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and you mess around and you speak something that your being can walk you through. That's why that mind got to be right.
Yeah.
That's why everything has to be right. Because once you let something out into the atmosphere, you can't take it back. And trust me, not only people, but you won't let you live it down. Because I know me. I won't let me live it down. When I get myself out there and say something, I won't let me live it down. So I'm determined to walk my talk. I'm going to walk my talk. If I say it, I have learned this the hard way. If I say it, it better be the right thing.
Yeah.
If I'm not sure, I'm not going to open my mouth. I'm not going to say nothing. You might hear me a few years later say, you know what, I was going. But if I say, oh, I'm doing this or I'm doing that, trust me, I am making that thing happen. Why? Because what I see in front of me is not a wall. I see styrofoam and cotton. Right. And I have the perspective. I have the viewpoint. I've evaluated this process. So therefore, I'm going to walk my talk. Walk your talk. Right? Type that in. I'm going to type that in. Walk your talk. Walk your talk. And that's something, you know what? And I when I was looking at this earlier, I was like, Anita, and Anita said, I have been here so many times where I've had to put myself in perspective and make sure that I'm doing what I said I was going to do. Because it's tough when you get out here, because people, let me tell you something, people will remind you of the places where you failed, but they will fail to celebrate you where you have triumphed.
Yeah, true.
It's much easier for somebody to say, oh, she didn't quite make it, or she didn't do this, or she didn't do that, than it is for somebody to say, wow, you know, Anita, you did that.
Mm-hmm.
Now you did that. Hi, Brenda. Make sure you mute yourself because I ain't mute nobody tonight. So that's why I've always been mindful, especially after, you know, of course we go through a few things and we mess up, but I had to become mindful of making sure before I said something that it was what it was. Because if I'm going to put my mouth out there, if I'm going to say it, then it better be right. Hi, Ebony, we missed you.
Yes.
If I'm going to say it, then it better be right. I better have it right, because once I've evaluated and gained the perspective and I've redefined the barrier, I'm going to make sure that I'm walking what I spoke. And not only just in, you know, as it pertains to making sure that you have, that you know, you're going to shut people up and shut yourself up, but because there's a level of accountability that comes with when you stake claim on something, especially when you got nerve to say God said.
Oh, come on now.
Now, when you got the nerve to say God said, and then you be like, oh, well, you know, I just decided, you know, I was gone, but I'm not gone. Hey, Brenda, I think that's Brenda. Go ahead and mute yourself. I didn't mute anybody. Tonight.
Yeah, Anita, we had a prophet, I won't call his name, but prophesied some stuff. And man, did they drag him. Did they drag him? Because he said God said. And he said,
that's
God
how it
said,
is.
Yeah, that Bush would die. The man then died a couple years later. He said God said that Hillary be the president. Well, it must be 2020 because she didn't win. So, you know, yeah, you got to be careful.
You have to be careful when you jump out there and say God said. So here's the thing. When you're walking your talk, make sure that talk is lined up. You better evaluate.
Yeah.
Because mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. And we're talking about tonight, we're talking, guys, to you, those of you who just came on, we're talking about breaking barriers. And the first thing we talk about in breaking barriers is that you have to have the right mindset.
Yes.
And when you got the right mindset, you know, you have to evaluate your situation and make sure that everything is lined up properly. And then you gain perspective. It means you have a viewpoint. Sometimes you have to change the angle. You have to do something else. Your perspective has to be right. Then when you have that, you redefine the barrier. You can name the wall. It might be a brick wall in the beginning, but at the end, it might be styrofoam. And you can knock that sucker down. And then after that, you have to learn to walk your talk. Walk your talk. If your mind gonna say, if your mind says something that your mouth got the nerve to repeat, you better be able to walk through it. You got the unmitigated gall to speak it. Make sure you've evaluated. You have the right perspective. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm gonna come off of that one.
That was a good one, though.
Walk your talk.
Walk it out.
Breaking barriers. Boom. Coming in like a wrecking ball, breaking it down. Oh, Annette, this your zone right here.
No more drama.
Drama-free zone. Drama-free zone. How many times have we said that I'm not gonna lie, you know, when Mary first started, what's her name? Mary J. Blige? No more drama. Boy, we tore that song up and then go home to drama. Get out the car. Rode home in the car singing no more drama. Get out the car, go in the house, got drama. Well, I ain't gonna have no more drama. Walk into the church, sit on the pew, can't sit down, good drama. I don't have no more drama in my life, no more drama. Get out the car, walk into your job. Somebody approach you with some drama. So we have to learn how to deal with the drama-free zone. Now, here's the thing. We were talking about the wall in the previous screen. We were talking about that one that when you're in your stride, all of a sudden you got this wall that just pops up out of nowhere. And you got to learn how to come in like a wrecking ball and drop and knock that wall down. Gain perspective and name the wall and walk your talk. Now we're dealing with drama-free zone. And in this, these are the ones that you need, like setting boundaries. Yeah. There are some boundaries there. Now, this is when you're putting stuff in perspective. Now,
Yes.
does this mean that you're building a wall? No. Because I believe that we just have to live a life that's wall free. But you do have to set boundaries. So there's a big difference between a boundary and a wall. Just have a nice little line in the sand or that little rope like at the movie theater.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can't go around it or you can't go over it or you can't go under it. It just means that you shouldn't. It's just not proper for you to go past that road. And these are the boundaries that we have to set with certain situations and certain people in our lives. There are boundaries. There are some things that are just not your business, and vice versa. There are some things about you that ain't none of their business. And there are times that we or other people, when it comes to us, will step past the boundary. And we have to learn to respect the boundary on the other side. And we have to learn to set ours so that we don't allow people to just come past the boundary.
Yes, true.
And you have to make it clear. You have gone too far. I respect you and I love you with the love of the Lord, but you have gone too far. That's an area in my life that I would appreciate that you not step into.
Yes.
Those are boundaries. And you ain't got to get ugly. This is the second time that I've encountered this topic today. What if someone doesn't respect your boundaries? Then what ship are they on?
That's the key.
Are they on the right ship? Because if they're not respecting your boundaries, then maybe the ship is wrong. Because if it's a friend is going to respect the boundary. And if a friend can't respect the boundary, then they belong in the fellowship.
Yeah. Because sometimes, yeah, you're right.
What you saying that?
Yeah, you're right about that. Because sometimes with boundaries, we've given people too much of us, too much access. And then when you try to take it away, it's difficult. You know, so if you could set the boundaries right away, that'll be awesome. But sometimes you can't. So
that's true. But you know what? But you said the key word on that. We allow. And if you allow it for so long, then, you might need to go and sit down and have a cup of coffee.
Exactly.
Say, look, I've allowed this to go on for so long and I really, really don't like it. And I need us to come to a place that we can, have a conversation about it where you can understand where I'm coming from. Because I'll tell you what happens most of the time with people, and I mean to cut you off because I want you to actually expound on that. What happens sometimes in that, I don't even know if you've encountered this, because I know I've been guilty of it. And I've had people come to me in that manner as well. When you're frustrated and you just pop off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pop off, the person gets offended. I mean, you just come out of nowhere and all of a sudden, you've never expressed this before, but all of a sudden you're expressing it, and you expressed it in such a tone and in a manner, and maybe sometimes even in public, and those are some things that you can't recover from.
True. That is so true.
Has that ever happened in your life? Because it's happened in mine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it has. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, Brenda used to tell me all the time, you attract the darndest people. And I would find myself in situations where I've allowed people to be up in my close personal space too long and way too close.
Gave them too much access, yeah.
Too much access. That is so true. So, Ebony, honey, once you set a boundary, and the thing is, there are relationships in your life that, we talked about this in relation ... ships. There's some ships in your life that will sail away. And you have to be mindful that everybody that comes into your life ain't there forever. Ain't nobody there forever because we all going to die. But there are some people who are meant to be your friends for life, like me and Valerie, since the playpen. She looked at me in the crib, and I was so beautiful. She was 1, and I was a day old. Well, she wasn't quite 1. I've teased her all our lives that my birthday's in February, hers in April. And for a few months, we're the same age. Now she likes to reverse it. Now that we're older. But all the way up to like 40, she used to argue with me. I'm older than you. I'm like, nope, you're not 41 yet. So there are some friendships that are like that. But then there are other friendships where, you know, I think I met Brenda in somewhere way long back in the 80s. And she has been consistently in my life since then and will continue to be. And then there are some people who just passed right on through, who people like Annette, you, Brenda, Valerie, who've been in my lives, wherever you've seen them come and you've seen them go. And there are some ships that just sail away. And if they cannot get with the boundaries that you set, if they are meant to be there, they're not going anywhere. But if they're not meant to be there, then you have to put them in the ship that they belong in and say, I love you with the love of the Lord. I wish you the best in life. Yeah. Because that is drama that you don't need. You have to have a drama-free zone. We were talking about moving things and getting your life in perspective and winning. You don't have time for drama. Drama is for the birds. And I want to sing the song and I want to get out of the car and not have the drama. So I want to set my boundaries. I want to make sure that I have the right mindset because that is important. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right. You said, because even with me, I mean, I was, words came out of my mouth didn't necessarily, I used to make up my own cuss words. That's how bad it was. But, you know, over time, because people saw my change, especially my family, and then they saw the change. So the boundaries were set. I didn't have to really, I lived my life in such a way that the boundaries were set. Even when we come together, they'll be cursing that, oh, I'm sorry, sis, I'm sorry. Because they know, see, you can fool some people, but you can't fool everybody. And my family knew there was a change, so the boundaries were set. But there will be some people who will not respect your boundaries.
That is true.
They will be, and then those, either I cut them off or I limit, because some people you just can't cut them all the way off. But I limit, you know, my interaction with them. Mm-hmm.
That within itself will send the message. Yeah. That within itself will send a message, because if they don't respect you, there are some people, you know, and that's true. There are some people who just feel like it's their duty to be a nuisance in your life and to just push your buttons. Yes. And those are the people that you don't want around you every day. And if they're willing to sacrifice the relationship because they don't want to respect your boundaries, and you limit or kind of cut it down to almost, you know, minimal holidays, they'll get the picture. They'll be like, but we used to be so close. Yeah, but you wouldn't respect my boundaries. Mm-hmm. I don't live the way you live. I've used this story, and I'm not going to say a name, but I've used this story with almost every young person in my life, every niece and every nephew. There's a certain person in my life that I knew at a certain point, God allowed our paths to separate for a long season because our paths were not equal. We were great friends, but unequally yoked. Wow. And which the road she was going down was destructive and mine wasn't. And we had to separate. And later in life, I was able to have compassion to help her through a tough time with some medical issues. And then we separated again. Do we talk all the time? Maybe once or twice a year. Wow. But I love her to pieces, like I love her like a sister. But I've told my nieces and I've told these young people, everybody's got one. Everybody's got one of those. And I always name her name. I say, everybody's got one. And that one is yours. And you've got to understand, in order for your life to prosper, you've got to set boundaries with that one. Yeah, otherwise, you will end up going down the same road that she's going or he's going.
You're right. Everybody got a thorn in their side.
Set those boundaries. And you got to mark territory. You got to mark your territory. This is mine. You ever notice when I know when every time we would move, when Zeus was younger, he was a territory marking something. It took him a minute. I don't even know. I know he did here too, but I can't recall as much as when he was a puppy. But, you know, dogs have a tendency to mark their territory. But not just dogs, but people, you know, you've been in a relationship with a brother, they know how to mark. They'll walk up to you while you're in a crowd of people talking and put their arm around you, just look off, nose flared, you know. That's a territory marker. Women do it too. Walk up, put your arm around his arm, put your head on his shoulder. I just want y'all to know. So, so you have to mark the territory. Your gift, your business, your movement is precious. And you already have your brand, you have your stuff together. You've got to mark your territory from the drama that could tend to come in and try and break down everything that you have. So when you set your boundary, you put your stamp on it, almost like putting your foot down. Yeah, this is the boundary, and boop, there's the trademark. That doesn't happen here. When you see this crest down in the bottom right corner, you know it's the movement. And there's a certain level of professionalism, there's a certain level of information that we're going to have, period.
Exactly.
We mark our territory, we set our boundaries, and that is what you have to do with your school, Michelle, with your catering business, Sharon, with your culinary business, and books and all the other stuff, Brenda. I don't even know what all coming out of Brenda. A whole lot of stuff. So you have to mark your territory. Then you have to manage infiltration. You have to man those points where negativity and foolishness want to infiltrate into what you got going on. You have to manage that. That's what we were talking about earlier, Ebony, when you're talking about somebody who doesn't respect your boundaries. If they don't respect your boundaries, they're trying to infiltrate. They want to come in and bring the foolishness inside so that they can break it down from the inside out. The devil is a liar.
Yeah.
You got to manage that. You have to understand that everybody that comes is not coming from a good place. Exactly. Everybody that tries to attach to your business or attach to your brand or attach to your name is not coming from a good place. Don't be silly. Use discernment. Because there are some things that you see before it happens. You can see it coming from a mile away, but a lot of times we'll just let our guard down and we'll key and ka. It ain't cute and funny when it starts to tear down what you've built.
Yeah.
This is how you keep the drama out. Because everybody ain't coming in peace.
No.
Oh, you better say that, Brenda. They're coming for your benefits.
Your benefits, yeah.
That's what they're coming for.
Yeah.
They want to benefit off of what you're doing. Now, there's nothing wrong with linking with another business. Iron sharpens iron. People strengthen people, but with the right mindset. But when they're coming and they're infiltrating, that's a whole different ballpark.
Spiritual attack. Yeah.
I feel like it's a spiritual attack as well. Of course it is.
Of course, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of course it is. I mean, I've felt bombarded at times. Have you ever felt bombarded?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Oh, yeah.
I felt bombarded by, sometimes when I felt bombarded by when people come and I want so badly for there to be growth and for there to be togetherness that I will just ignore the signs. And before you know it, I have more drama than I have productivity. That's how quickly it can happen.
Yeah, Nita, you're right. Because if you're not careful, people infect your organization with gossip and lies. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a cancer. Mm-hmm. People do that. They a hammer at the weakest link. They find something that attack you where you're vulnerable. They try to
See, that's where when you have gaps in your boundaries, when you have gaps in your situation, that's those weak spots.
Yes.
Where your boundaries are not set properly, it's not strong. You don't have that strength on the outside, and they come in right in your weak spots. Boom.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Passes right on through. It's just like if you have like entryways, like even when like little spots where water can come into your building. If you have a leak or there's a flood and you have a weak spot in your foundation, then of course water after a while it's going to rise and it's going to infiltrate because it's going to come into the building. You can't stop it because like that's flooding. But when you have regular rain and you got like a leak or something or an open window, that's what it infiltrates. It comes in where there's an opening.
Yes.
And that's the same thing with us. When it's our business and in our movement, we have those weak spots. We're not guarded properly. And stuff just comes right on in. We have to be consistent in protecting our vision, our purpose, our destiny. This is from Brenda. Let your no be no, and your yes be yes. People don't have to like it, but they will respect it whether they want to or not. You got that, Ebony? They don't have to like it, and it's not your business to make somebody like what you do. Thank you for that, Brenda. It's not your place. You don't have to let. Yeah, but they don't. Okay, well then, bye. That's at the end of the day, there's nothing left. If they don't respect it, boom. See ya. Yeah, because you don't respect my boundaries. And I don't have to be around you to love you. I can love you from afar. And I choose to love you from afar because you don't respect. Ebony, you have to have an I don't care ministry.
And be consistent. You can't pitter patter. If you want them to do, they may not, but out the next time I tell them, and the next time, and the next time, eventually,
and people will wear out. Let me tell you, that saying that it's a straw that breaks a camel's back is so true.
Mm-hmm.
Because they could have done so many things that were so much worse than what they did the last time and the time before that and the time before that and the time before that. And they could step on your toe and that'd be it. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Because it's the straw. It's a small thing that breaks the camel's back. And that's why you have to set them. You have to set those boundaries. Because you'll end up popping off real quick on something very simple and small because you're angry and because you keep allowing it over and over again. Because if they're around you all the time and you keep saying no and you keep saying I don't like it, don't respect my boundaries, blah, 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 and they just won't, then you have to. That's when you have to say, okay, I'm going to take over right here. Yeah. I'm coming in like a wrecking ball. I'm going to name the wall right here. This wall is made of steel. No, I ain't trying to get you to put up the wall. It's setting the boundaries. You have to set that boundary, Ebony. And when they don't when they don't respect it, then you have to dismiss. You have infiltrated my space, and you're foreign here, and you gotta go. You don't have time for it. You can't function like that. So then, you gotta learn to tame your renegade spirit. Now, what do we mean by that, Anita? Sometimes we bring the drama because you know what? We talk too much. We talk too much. Stop telling everything that you're doing before you do it. Stop telling everything you got going on. Stop sharing your vision before you figured it out. Stop telling every step that, and you know what I'm going to do next year? And next week I'm going to do. No, leave something. You have to tame that renegade spirit. You don't have to tell everything. Sometimes we talk our way into a mess. We talk our way into drama, and then we get mad because we've let it leak and everybody else is running along with it. And then it may not happen or something happens that throws it off. Then you got drama. Oh, you have to go and tell everybody. No, you shouldn't have told everybody. Because if God told you, he ain't tell you and everybody too. He told you in secret.
Yeah. And they take your vision, run with it, and you look up. You're like, well, I was gonna do that.
But if he told you in secret, why you telling the secret yet? Is the secret meant to be told? Wait a minute, I got it right here. If he told you a secret, it's a secret. The actual idea is a secret. What you're supposed to share with everybody is what the secret is supposed to produce. Ah.
Come on now.
Isn't that something? Brenda said, when I stopped talking about the book and wrote the book was written. I had to shut up. That's a good one.
Good, very good.
So when you got a secret, so Brenda, your book, the book idea and everything was the secret. But when you tell the secret, you have become a betrayer or a deserter of the secret.
Wow, a rebel.
The renegade spirit, it releases and just starts tearing away at the organization because you have blabbered the secret, but you have not even put the secret together. Because he told you a secret and you're supposed to put it together and then share the vision.
Hey, Anita,
Uh-huh.
I'm reminded of that baked bean commercial. I guess it's where they keep more the secret. But they won't release the secret because that's the secret.
Mm-hmm.
Same principle.
Brenda talking about WikiLeaks.
You know what?
So you have to tame the renegade spirit and say, you know what? I'm gonna be quiet because when I start talking, I betray my own vision and I bring drama in my situation because I have talked too much. So these are those boundaries. Those are barriers. We build barriers by doing this stuff, by leaving our we don't set our boundaries, therefore we put up a wall. We don't mark our territory, therefore we got another wall. We don't manage infiltration, so we got holes in the wall. And then we don't tame the renegade spirit, then you got a holy wall with a bunch of foolishness going on inside it. That ain't nothing but a mess.
Yeah.
You just need a bomb. Blow it up at that point. So then, boom, I came in like a wrecking ball. What goes up must come down. Wow. Now look at this right here. We're back to barriers now, because this is the kind of stuff that mess you up. Cultural rationalization. Well, you know, I live in the hood, so I can't really do that. So I'm just gonna stay over here, and I'm just gonna put me a little place right over here in the corner, right between the projects and the trailer park. That's because I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Now, if that's where you're supposed to be, that's where you're supposed to be. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. I was born and raised in the hood. However, don't allow yourself to lock yourself into cultural rationalization as to why you won't step outside the box.
Exactly. Yeah.
If your business has called for you to step outside the box, you need to step outside the box. You need to bring that wall down, because that's the rationalization that you can't do something because of your zip code.
You're right. Well, I'm from the little town in Bunnell, and you know I grew up with one red light.
Y'all sure have one red light.
Yeah, one red light. Well, I'd probably just be in Bunnell until I die.
Might as well go ahead and just live in my one red light. Live in my one red light town. Do my one red light business. Go to my one red light church. And wear my one red light clothes. No! There's more to life than one red light.
Yes.
There's a whole world. And a lot of times, let me tell you, and we're guilty. Us with the brown skinned African Americans,
yes, we are.
Think that we can't do certain things outside the box because we always have to be associated with people who look like us. There's a whole world of people who don't look like you. They're white and Hispanic and Asian and everything else. You have to be able to melt in this world. and mingle and commingle with people. You can't do everything. Everything can't be, you can't live a culturally imbalanced life in a culturally multiple world. We have this world with a multiplicity of cultures.
Yeah.
But you live an imbalanced lifestyle, or you limit yourself based on your cultural rationalization that all of the people that you have to do business with have to be people who look like you. That's not true. And there are many of us, oh, I'm so blind. There are many of us so bound by that they only read Black authors, true, only go to Black movies, restricted life, only go to Black churches, only go to Black restaurants, only eat at the barbecue pit. They won't go to Cooper's Hawk, but they go stand in line at Mama Lucy's. I love Mama Lucy's though, but I also love Cooper's Hawk. And I also love sushi. So I don't have to go and eat barbecue all the time and have collard greens on every plate. I can go have sushi, and then I might want to go have a steak, and then I might want to have a vegan meal. And guess what? One of my favorite restaurants in the world is in New York called the Brooklyn Diner. It is a Jewish diner. Oh my goodness. That place got the best food in the world. So we have to put ourselves in the process, in our outside of that comfort zone, to realize that we got to bring down that wall. That wall, you need to wreck it down of cultural rationalization. Stop rationalizing what you can and can't do, where you can and can't take your business, where you can and can't have your building, what you can and can't cater. Because guess what? There's a whole world out there. And if you're going to allow the world to see you and know you, and if you're going to really live out the dream and the vision that you see, you got to get past all of that. All of that. Come on, somebody, y'all type that out. Type that in. Type that in. What goes up must come down. What goes up must come down. I can't never read it right on this phone. Maybe if I did that. I'm coming. I'm slow. What goes up must come down. All right. So then, we have to,
No, I just said, oh, I just like this one.
The state of society. Oh, the world is so bad.
Yes.
I can't do this because in this day and society, people are not going to listen to what I have to say. In this day and age, people got their own restaurant, and they can go on YouTube and get their recipes. In this day and age, nobody's going to pick up a cookbook. Devil is a liar. State of society is going to stop you from something. Don't you think if God told you to do it, that there are people who need it, obviously, because everybody doesn't want to go on YouTube and watch somebody. I watch so many recipes on YouTube. I'll go and pull out Brenda cookbook in a minute. There's something there now I want to make. That stuff kind of hard though, but I'm believing God. I'm believing God. So we can't place boundaries because of the state of society. Bring that wall down. Bring down the cultural rationalization. Bring down the state of society. Yes, society is a trip. Yes, this world is a mess. Yes, there are a whole lot of people doing it, but guess what? They're not doing it the way you're doing it. You're the only one who's doing what you're doing. Say that. Say that to yourself. I'm the only one who's doing what I'm doing. I'm the only one who's doing what Anita's doing, because guess what? There's only one of me. So I am the only one who's doing what I'm doing. Other people may be doing something like I'm doing, but they're not doing what I'm doing. Because I'm the onlyest. I like that word. I'm the onlyest one. I love that word. They might put me in the dictionary. I'm the onlyest one in that. We're the onlyest ones. You the only one? I'm the only one doing what Brenda L. Jackson is doing. I'm the onlyest, she said. There you go, Brenda. All righty. Somebody else said something.
All right, Sharon, because I'm unique. Okay.
All right, Sharon, you are unique, baby, honey. And I can see her doing like this because I am. Right. Yep. Yeah. Okay, and then we have to stop with the excuses. We make excuses, tools of incompetence. Come on, people. Stop making excuses as to why you can't do something. You already have the one of cultural rationalization and state of society, and then you start making excuses based on your own limiting beliefs. So you bow your way out of something, or talk your way out of something, or make excuses. I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too fat, I'm too slow, I don't have enough money, I'm too broke, I'm too, oh my goodness. Ooh, make me hot. Stop with the excuses. Bring the wrecking ball, boom. Need to tear that wall down. No more excuses. And here's a good one. This is another wall that must come down, is stubbornness. Be teachable. Because when you don't know how to do something and somebody does know how to do something, and you partner with them, or you've leveled up with them, or you're a part of a network and people are sharing ideas, it's not necessarily the people who are trying to tell you how to do what you do, but they're maybe telling you something that's beneficial. You know, like, why don't you try it this way? Don't be so stubborn. Well, that ain't the way I started it. Well, then it ain't going nowhere. So perhaps if you listen, you might figure out that you might can learn a little something. Because trust me, it is nothing for me to get on the phone and say, how you do this? How do you do that? I want to just pick your brain. There have been many people that I've called on to say, let me pick your brain. I want to pick your brain about something. They're like, sure, call me. And I'll get on the phone. And I'm not afraid to say I don't know how to do something. Because you know what? I mean, I know how to do it then, but I'm going to know how to do it. And everybody starts with somewhere. You don't just wake up and just know how to do it. No, you have to go through a process. So you have to bring the stubborn wall down. Stop being so stubborn and pig-headed that you're not teachable and that you don't want to change. Because there may be some things that you need to change or rethink. I have a friend who had the name of his business is horrible. And it took my cousin Betty Wright to tell me, well, you know why his business won't grow? Look at the name. And I had to look at it, and then when she explained it to me, I'm not going to say what it is, because this is going to be on the internet. But when she explained it to me, I was like, oh my goodness. And she said, well, that's why he don't speak to me now. I'm like, what? She said, yeah, because I told him the name was wrong. You're speaking defeat every time you speak the name.
Wow.
And you have to be careful sometimes. And when somebody comes to you like that, just because that's what you started, don't mean that you can't do refresh, restart, reboot.
Yes.
Because if God sends you a sound word from somebody, especially when you have been trying to do this for 15 years and you keep hitting a wall at the same spot, then perhaps you have to go back and redefine it. Go and evaluate, do all of that stuff, and stop being stubborn. Because that's a wall you build. Stubbornness keeps that up. And then you got it going on tonight.
I know. Sorry, I apologize.
Okay, mute yourself if you need to get it. Just mute yourself. Because I can't mute you. So then we have, coming out of this now, I came in like a wrecking ball. We have breakthrough. I guess I should have had the song there. But I wanted us to dance again at the end. So we have breakthrough. And when you have come to the place of breakthrough, you got all of that stuff out of your way. Now, you can access your resources. Because on the other side of the wall, there are people and there's information. And when you bring all of that stuff down, you can see. You can hear. Because you don't have, I'm going to tell you, have you ever been inside of an all brick building with no windows, with the lights off?
Yes.
That's dark.
Yeah, it's dark.
When I'm in a recording studio, because there are no windows in recording studios mostly. And I remember when I was in the recording studio and the lights went off, I couldn't even see my hand in front of my face. That's how dark it was. So when you have those walls up, you're actually in darkness and you can't even access anything. And when you get all those walls down and you knock that stuff out of your way, you can now access your resources. You can see. And then you have renewed ideology.
Yes.
You've accessed your resources. You have renewed ideology. Now, sometimes we don't realize that our ideas or the system that we use is a mess until we actually can see it.
Yeah.
Until the light comes on, or until somebody informs us, or until somebody's, you know what, it's like your doctrine, your teaching is off. Your synopsis of that is not solid. So when you break through all of those barriers, you get a renewed ideology. Then you also can now take your quantum leap. Remember that show? Remember that show, Quantum Leap?
Oh, yeah.
That was your show. And that means that now you have the energy to leap into greatness. Because you've accessed your resources, you've rethought your theory, now you can see clearly, your boundaries and everything is set, those walls are down, and now you can do your little pirouette, whoop, and take your little quantum leap. Because on the other side is greatness.
Yeah.
And you can also enlarge your territory. Because when we're closed in, we don't realize what more is out there, what more we can do, because our minds are closed, it's boxed in. It's just like they talk about when you put a lid on a jar, you put the flea in the jar, the flea can naturally jump very, very high. But when you put the lid on the jar for so long, the flea starts to adapt to the lid. And then when you take the lid off the jar, the flea won't jump past the jar because they forgot how high they can jump. Just like a bird in a cage, they forget they have the nature to fly. Until you open that cage and they're out, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, and then they start running, they start bumping and falling. They don't really fly that well in the beginning. Brenda, remember when the church bought Bishop Curry that Bentley? And they had somebody had the bright idea to have doves to come and fly out of the cage. And when they let the doves out of the cage, some of them forgot they could fly. And they were like, some of the doves were going in the trees. And then some of the doves was like walking, and a couple of them landed on the car just chilling while they bringing the car in. It was a great thought. I'm sure on TV, it looks great when you let these doves, I think they had 25, it was his 25th year of preaching or something. And so they had 25 doves, and they were already crammed in this cage. So when they opened the cage, they were going crazy trying to get out. And then the thing about doves is that they're supposed to come back. There was this running joke going on around Newburgh because there were a few doves that was hanging out with the pigeons. I mean, they were up on the ledge of the gutter, literally just sitting and chilling with the pigeons. And I can't remember who it was. Somebody said, well, they say once you go black, you never go back. The dove was just hanging out with the pigeons and they didn't want to go home. So when you put a bird in a cage, sometimes they forget. And when they get out, they don't realize who they are. So when now that those walls are down, your territory is enlarged, you've taken that quantum leap, eventually you will get that wind beneath your wings. But you've got to break through the barriers. This is what a winner's mindset does for you. How does that feel?
Awesome.
Awesome sauce.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good feeling to know that, I can come through this process and I can bring down those walls. I can set my barriers and I'm going to be okay. Everybody all right? I want everybody now, we did this last week. We got more people on here tonight because I want to see it real good. Michelle, Valerie, Sharon, Ebony, Karen. Carrie, you can turn yours on. You did turn yours on. You did your finger last week at the end. I want you to turn your camera on, even if you just wave your hand in the camera. But we want to give y'all an opportunity to participate. Oh, woo! See, this was our topic last week, and we got our group on. I need everybody dancing.
Well, you jamming again tonight, Nita.
We jamming, honey. We jamming again tonight. Come on, come on, come on. Ow. Come on, Ebony. Come on, Michelle. Make it work, girl. Make it work, girl. I see you. That's how you do it. There you go, Michelle. She cooking and making it go on. Making it happen. Ah! See, we got like, there you go, Ebony. I see you, girl. Oh, 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 oh. This is where we're trying to take everybody. We're trying to make you come out of the shell, come out of the dark place. You got to come out of the wilderness. You got to bring the walls down. You got to make that thing happen. We just want to see everybody make that. We want to see everybody win. We want to see everybody walk into their new place. We want to see everybody live that life, live that dream, live that vision. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Woo! Yeah, I decided we're gonna incorporate some little singing and dancing in our
the music.
You were getting it all. I see you, Ebony. So now we want to hear from you all. We want to hear a few little bit of conversation because it's Can We Talk. Good to see you again, Ebony. Been missing you.
I'm glad to see y'all again. It's therapeutic. Anytime I get to hear y'all voices and get to hear y'all, just go ahead and do what y'all do, and then y'all make y'all jokes. Y'all be having me laughing. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad to be back.
Excellent. Glad to have you back.
Okay, Rose.
Yeah. I'm telling you, hey, baby.
Yes.
She wanted to say hey to the world. She's so cute. That girl got a lot of personality.
She really does.
So we want to see those. We want you guys to really start walking in that new place. Michelle, do you feel the walls coming down? I know you're cooking, but do you feel the walls coming down? Because oh Lord, she got Chet pull out the dish towel. She's either cooking or washing dishes, one or the other.
Wash dishes. It's too late to be cooking. But yes. Like I say, stepping out and knocking on walls. Yeah, it's a challenge, but I'm getting there.
It's a process and it's a challenge, but it's one that you can do, honey.
Yeah, most definitely.
Start redefining that stuff and pull it down, get it out of your way.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm. And it's a lot of I guess me being a little bit confusion. Like I said, I wanted to do my thing in Orlando, but I know it's hard, and it's like I picked the hardest challenges for myself, but that's what I want. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I tend to step back, and then sometimes I step back too far till I become comfortable. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to get comfortable. Mm-hmm. So I think I've been comfortable too long, and that's, I need to, you help me with that. Just keep going. Don't stay idle too long.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can't be idle.
Oh no.
When you step back and restart, refresh, reboot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You actually get yourself, like you get that reboot done after you unplug from the power source and you see it clearly.
Oh yeah.
Reboot, then it's like, well, maybe I got to do this, I got to do that. And just like tonight, when we talk about evaluating, go back and evaluate, and sometimes redefine the wall, set your perspective. All of those things come into play when you're looking at a situation that is as big as that. You're talking about doing a business in a whole other city. So you have to, sometimes you have to step back and look at the timeline. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's a process that comes out of a process. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just have to, hey, God gave you the vision. He didn't give it to me. And if he keeps saying Orlando, then so be it. But,
yeah.
How you get there is the key. And just make, just start putting those pieces in place.
Yes.
And start with what you have. And then
Mm-hmm.
those doors will open before you know it. You'll be like, oh my goodness, I got a school in Daytona and Orlando.
Oh yeah.
Girl.
Yeah, and I'm not denying the chances here. I think I definitely should start here, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And just further it in Orlando.
Then start and go to Orlando, and then before you know it, you might take over Florida.
Amen.
Hey, I ain't scared. You scared?
No,
I'm not scared.
I ain't scared.
I'm not scared. Brenda Jackson, how you doing tonight? So good to see ya.
It's very good to be seen.
That's good. That's good. How's it going? How is your week then?
The clip people crazy, but all is well.
All is well.